Well, we fought it as long as we could, but we've decided and we come to terms with it's time to winterize the Jayco. Today, we're gonna go through some steps on our sanitizing our RV. It's a Jayco Redhawk 26XD. Now the steps I'm gonna go through today, some of the steps are specific to an RV like this, but I'm also gonna make sure I mention while I'm doing this that would line up with a regular travel trailer RV as well, so that this could be a one-stop how-to video on how to sanitize and winterize your RV for the winter time. So we didn't want to come to this, but today is a beautiful day. But tomorrow the rain's coming in, cold front's going to move in, and starting Monday all through next week, the temperature is going to be in the low 20s in North Georgia. So we're going to go ahead and winterize this joker. That doesn't mean that our camping's over for the winter time, because you're going to see in these steps it's pretty simple to do this. So I don't mind going on a camping trip in the winter, coming back and redoing a winterization. We just love to camp that much. We're going to try to do a little tent camping in the winter too, if we can find a way to keep my wife warm. So we're going to give that a shot as well. So you guys stick around to the end, because at the very end I'm going to show you guys what a lot of people forget to do during the winter time, and it proposes a big problem at the start of the new season and can cost you some money. So just stand by to the end of the video and I'll show you guys what that one thing is people forget to do. Thanks for joining the video today. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and join our channel. We're gonna have a lot of outdoor adventures coming up. Hadn't had a lot of time to post as many videos as I wanted to. We're gonna try to increase how many videos we're putting out. Okay, right now I'm on the inside of the RV, and I kind of want to go through what you guys need to do on the inside of the RV to prepare to winterize your RV. So first thing you want to do is make sure that you come to your panel here, and you want to make sure that your water pump is turned off. Turn that off, and then you want to come under and make sure you have good access to your hot water tank. As you can see in there, there's some valves. We're going to turn in just a little while to bypass that hot water tank so that antifreeze does not get into that tank. We're going to drain that tank as well. I'll show you the steps to doing that. So make sure you have removed all your paneling to get to the water tank. You also want to make sure you have easy access and a clean area in your sinks to run your water, your shower, your bathroom sink, and your toilet. Also, if you have an outside shower, you want to make sure that you unlock that and have it ready so that you can run antifreeze through it as well. One thing I want you guys to notice is a water pump. All RVs have a water pump. Now, if you're in a travel trailer, a lot of the manufacturers put a little hose that comes off of your water pump where you could hook your gallon jugs of antifreeze into that hose, and that pump will start sucking the antifreeze out of the jug and into your plumb. You'll be using a hose similar to this hose here. This is the hose I'm going to use, but on my particular style RV, I do everything from the outside, and I'll show you what I mean in just a moment. But a lot of times, manufacturers will put a hose on this pump right here with a valve on it. That's when you're not using that little suction tube, that valve will be in the closed position, and then you simply stick the hose into the 1 gallon antifreeze, and then you open the valve, and then you turn on your pump, and then you just run your faucets and showers and your toilet as you normally would until you get good pink fluid coming out of all your appliances. Okay, basically this is the supplies you're gonna need. You're gonna need some gallon jugs of the antifreeze. I always just buy mine at Walmart, the Super Tech RV and Marine. It's good for down to negative 50 degrees Fahrenheit. In North Georgia, that's plenty. I don't think I've seen it negative 50 here. Then of course your hose, or you might have the built-in hose on the water pump that I was discussing earlier. On the outside, what we're looking at here, and on the side of your RV, you're gonna see a panel that says hot and got a little vent cover here. This is your hot water tank. You want to lower that. If you have electric hot water heater, make sure your propane, your power switch is turned off, no power going to it, and also make sure your propane's turned off so that you have no propane going to this as well. On mine, I have this little valve here that has a little pitcock here that I just loosen, and I can start draining the water. On a lot of RVs, you see just a white plastic plug here, and all you do is take a wrench or a socket and get on that and loosen that to drain your tank. Once it starts draining, here's your relief valve here that you want to lift up on this little relief valve to allow the vacuum to get off the tank so that you can fully drain your hot water tank. I'm going to start draining my hot water tank now. I'm just going to open that little valve up, and you can see water's coming out of that. And then I'm going to go ahead and lift my relief valve and allow that water to completely drain out of here. I know mine's got more than that in it. You just got to let that drain out. So I'm going to let that drain for a little while until we get all that water out of that drain. I may end up going ahead and taking that whole plug out just to make sure I get it all out. First time I ever used one of these plugs, but those plastic ones you'll see, I actually have one split on me while we were camping and was blowing hot water everywhere. So I'm not a huge fan of those. Now the next thing you're going to locate on your RV is your low point drains, and a lot of RVs have a sticker on it that identifies where your low point drains are, like mine here. And then what you're going to do is go in here and open up all of your low point drains, and as you can see, all 3 of those are leaking water out. That's your low point drains. What I like to do while those low point drains are draining is I like to open my valve inside of the RV to allow them to break any kind of vacuum that we might have, not allowing something to drain. So I always just open those up. Here's the tricky part that a lot of people get confused on. This is your hot water tank, and most RVs I've ever seen have these kind of valves on it right here. Now, these valves are gate valves. If that knob is going the same direction as your tubing, that means it's open. You notice your top one, hot water out, is open. And down bottom, I don't know if you guys can see this, but I have another one down here. That's your cold water in. So you got water coming in, cold water coming in, and hot water going out. Now what we want to do during winterization is we want to turn off our inlet and we want to turn off our outlet. And you see those lines making a cross against the line now. That means they are off. Now, you're going to have one more valve that is already off, and this is the valve that you want to turn on so that you can bypass the hot water heater, but you can also get antifreeze in the hot water circuits of your RV because you need to flush the hot water side and the cold water side. So now we have our hot water tank bypass. No antifreeze is going to be allowed to get into that tank. We're draining it on the outside, and then we're going to bypass it with this 3rd valve here. This is the part that's confusing to a lot of people trying to winterize their camper. Make sure you do this. You don't really want that antifreeze in your hot water tank. Now the next thing I want to show everyone, on my RV, we like to keep fresh water in our freshwater tank so that when we're traveling, we can use the sinks, we can use the restroom and stuff like that. So we do keep water in our freshwater tanks. So if you do that and you know there's water in your freshwater tank, then you need to find your drain valve on the side of your RV somewhere. In my case, my drain is right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and open that and allow this tank to start draining all that fresh water out of that tank so that it don't freeze up during the winter time. I always like to check my panel here on fresh water. As you can see, it's full right now. So before I conclude my winterization, I will hit this button again and just double check, make sure that tank is empty. Now that you see that your camper looks like it's sprung a leak everywhere, that means you're heading in the right direction. You want to get all of this water out. You want to make sure that all that is out. The process is real easy. It's just little steps you got to remember, especially the hot water tank. Make sure you bypass that hot water tank before you start bringing in the antifreeze. I have onboard water filtration system. If you have onboard water filtration system, you need to make sure that you undo your canister and remove your filter so you don't pollute it with antifreeze. In my case, mine is located under my sink. That's where mine's located. I have a wrench here that I'm gonna put on there, and that will allow me to break that filter housing loose. This is a really tight quarter for me to be in, but I've got my wrench on here, and now I'm just gonna simply loosen it and then go ahead and turn this loose. And you're gonna make a little bit of water mess here. If you get your wrench out the way, it might come off easier. Take this and drain it. I drained mine into the shower because it was closer. And yes, I did get wet, and now there is water in the RV. So I'll get a towel and soak this up and put the canister back up there as well. On my RV, I do have an outdoor shower. So I will be also making sure that antifreeze comes through the valve here to make sure my outside shower don't freeze. I have a water management system inside here, and I'll explain this to you in just a minute. But this hose connects where I would normally hook up city water connection. I put it down into a gallon jug, the end, and then I turn on my water pump, and then I open up the valve that I'm trying to get antifreeze through, and it will start sucking it up from here. However, on mine, if you guys can see that little sticker there, it has different settings that you can set this to. So 2 and 6 is for city fixtures, 1 and 6 is for city fill tank, 1 and 4 is for a country fill, 3 and 5, which that's the position it's in now, is normal. Normal means that you're using water out of your fresh water tank. You turn on your water pump inside and you're pumping water out of your water tank. 2 and 4 is for sanitizing and winterizing your lines, and 1 and 4 is just to run a sanitation. So in this particular situation, I'm gonna set this knob for 2 and 4. That's gonna allow whatever I have in my tanks or gallon jugs to be sucked out of the jug through the water pump that's inside, and then it will pump it through my plumbing. Now on a standard RV, you'll probably do it the way I was telling you. The water pump inside your camper will have some kind of line with a valve on it. You just stick the line into the antifreeze tanks, turn the valve open, and then turn on your water pump, and then you start flushing your lines through all your plumbing that way. As you can see, mine is still draining on the fresh water tank. I still have some drainage going on over here as well. So we're gonna wait and get a lot of this draining done, because when I start pumping antifreeze in, I wanna close these low point drains so everything I pump in does not come out onto the ground. I want it to go into the plumbing. I also want to come back in here now into the camper, and I want to close all my valves that I opened earlier, because when I get ready to start pumping antifreeze, I want to do them one at a time. So I'm going to turn off all my valves again so that when I'm ready to start pumping antifreeze again, I can do one faucet at a time. Nothing is coming out of the low point drain, so I'm going to go ahead and close these back off now. Now I have 4 gallons of antifreeze. I don't know if I'm going to need all this, but I like to bring enough out. So now all I'm going to do is start taking the lids off 2 of these at least, punching a hole into the foils, set those aside, and now we're ready to get the hose down into the bottom. Get it as close to the bottom as I can, and that's going up into there. And we're going to start this procedure in just a minute. Once you have everything hooked up and your valves turn right, then you're simply going to turn on your water pump switch. Outside I got one, and turn on my water, and it should start running the antifreeze down. Coming inside now, I'm going to run the cold water circuits first. I have to go check the tanks in a minute, and you can see the pink coming through now. Run that one for a second. Let's run the toilet for a second. Sometimes that pump loses its prime. Here it comes. As you can see, the pink's getting in there, and I'm just trying to fill the lines right now with some antifreeze. Then I'll go change my jug. Got some in there, and we'll get some in the shower now. And when you're done, you really want to get this pink out of your fixtures too, because it could stain. As you can see, that pink, you really want to get that out. So I'm going to go back outside now and see if my tanks are empty. I've already put 2 gallons in here, so I want to go out here and see if I need more, so it don't lose its prime again. I still got some more in that jug, but we'll go ahead and change it out real quick and get a good flow of everything. There we go. Now I will go back inside and run these down really good and get the antifreeze and everything really good. So let's go run it some more here. Okay, and right now I'm just running the cold water side. You can hear the pump pulsating underneath. So we're gonna get the cold water side up. Let's run some more in the toilet. And this gets in your tanks too, so you ain't gotta worry about your black water or gray water tanks flooding out, freezing up. We got a pretty good flow coming now. Okay, we'll stop that. Run some more through Mr. Shower here. And I might use all 4 gallons here. All right, now remember, when we bypass this tank underneath here, let me just go ahead and make sure. Oh, I need to turn this valve back on. I turned it off earlier. I was having some trouble because I turned those valves off at that filter, and I'll show y'all what I mean in a minute. And I shouldn't have done that. So now this is the hot water side. You see it's running clear now, and it's starting to get a little pink in it. This is the hot water side. We'll go back in here into the bathroom, run the hot water side in the bathrooms as well till it turns pink. There we go, getting some pink in that side as well. And we'll run some on the shower to get it going on the hot water side. Now, as long as you got your tank bypassed, none of this is getting into that hot water tank. And we'll let that sit down a minute. And we're gonna go back outside now and run the shower, outside shower hot side. So let's go back out here. As you can see, I'm at my storage yard doing this. That's a good thing about everything being pretty self-contained. The shower now outside has antifreeze in it. This is proven to be easier with 2 people. I have to keep running out there to make sure the jugs don't empty, because if the pump starts dry pumping, then it kicks in an internal reset. You have to shut the batteries down, restart it all. So it's easier to have 2 people out there manning those tanks. So if you can get 2 people to help you, I recommend doing that. And what I like to do now is the little bit that couldn't get out of the jugs, I just like pouring down some of the drains here for the P-trap drains. And that's pure antifreeze going down these drains here, just to have some in the P-traps. Everything's done. Now that means your water pump has antifreeze in it, so nothing should get frozen in there as well. So far we're almost done, but I want to show you guys at the end what a lot of people forget to do. It ends up costing them money when the new season comes in. One of the final things I'm gonna do before I call this camper winterized, and a lot of people do not do this, including myself. I haven't done it every year, but I've found the hard way. Cold weather and batteries. They do not like the cold weather, folks. You need to take your battery out and go put it in your garage at home. So I'm gonna get this battery disconnected and get it taken to the house and put in the garage. This is the biggest pain about winterizing, because if you want to come again in the winter, you got to bring your battery back and hook it back up, but it's well worth it. And another thing I do, I'll leave that stuff off, so it reminds me when I'm going camping, hey dummy, did you get the battery? You laugh, but it happens. Hopefully you guys will learn something out of this video, but this is a pretty much basic walk through how you winterize just about any RV that's out there. They're all about the same. Hopefully you guys will hit that subscribe button and join us on our channel. We're gonna have more outdoor adventures in the winter, but we just don't know what yet. But we're gonna do some adventures, do some camping, and some more videos. So you guys, thanks for joining. Thanks for being part of our channel.